Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Album of the Year. Sunday morning. Hope everybody's doing good here at the end of the weekend, into my vacation. Back to work tomorrow. It's been fun, but all good things eventually come to an end, right? Anyway, we have arrived at 2013. Another pretty damn good year for music. A clear favorite for me for this year, but a host of very good choices for my runner-up. Again, as I've been doing as of late, go back to what I kind of picked for my favorite albums of 2013 on the website when we do our annual kind of best of the year kind of article that all of the writers at Sea of Tranquility put together. And my favorite back in 2013 is still my favorite from this calendar year today. That wasn't the question. Like I said, I think it was more of the runner-ups. But I tell you, my favorite of this year happens to be from my favorite band. I think a bunch of you called it on yesterday's video, and it's an album that still holds up really well. It's become one of my favorite from the catalog from this band of their more recent albums. So more recent being kind of like from the mid 90s and up. That's kind of when this band got a little fresh blood in the band, so to speak, and have recorded a whole bunch of albums that I feel are very, very strong, that hold up really well in the catalog. And I think this particular album sees the first time that they would work with a very notable producer who now they're going on 3 albums in a row with, because they're going to release their latest one, I believe, in September. Released originally, this album we're talking about, my favorite, April 26, 2013. Hope you're liking the outdoor setting, by the way. This is my backyard. It was just too nice not to sit outside here this morning. April 26, 2013 for Ear Music in Europe, Eagle in the U.S., and Victor in Japan. Produced by Bob Ezrin. I'm talking about Now What by Deep Purple. I'm a big fan. The first time I heard this album, I was a little skeptical working with Bob Ezrin. But Bob Ezrin is a, famous, acclaimed producer who's worked with, Pink Floyd and Alice Cooper and Kiss and on and on and on. But, Deep Purple's a different beast, different animal. How would it work? I think it worked really, really well. First time I played this album, I was instantly impressed. I think there's a lot of great atmosphere on this album. It's not their heaviest album or their hardest rocking album, but I don't think it needs to be. I think Ezrin for this album kind of tempered Steve Morse just a little bit to allow Don Airey to really shine. This to me is more of kind of like a Deep Purple doing a prog thing album, but it still rocks quite a bit. But it's definitely more of a progressive rock album than anything else. Almost kind of like it's almost like this album is kind of like a tribute to John Lord, who, of course, we lost not long before this album came out, but some great tunes on here. Simple Song, which kicks it all off, fantastic. I like the kind of slow build to that song. It's kind of creepy and atmospheric in the beginning, then it hits hard. You got Where to Stand, you got Out of Hand, Hell to Pay, good, kind of catchy hard rocker. Bodyline, terrific. Some of these songs are just really, really proggy. Above and Beyond, again, Airey's great keyboards, almost sounded like ELP at times. You got Blood from the Stone, good heavy rocker on Common Man, another good hard rocker. Après Vous, all right? All the Time in the World. That was like the initial single release. That's probably my least favorite song on the album. I don't know why a lot of bands do that in recent years. They're anticipating a new album coming out, a new CD coming out, and they'll release like a track or two way ahead of time to give people a taste for the album. And a lot of times the songs they release are like the worst songs on the album. I don't understand why. So All the Time in the World, yeah, it's catchy and all that kind of stuff, but definitely my least favorite song on here. And then the snarling Vincent Price, which is really, really good, dark and menacing, and just a lot of fun. And then, of course, you've got the CD, you got a bonus track, It'll Be Me, which is also a pretty decent song. So there you have my favorite of the year. As for my runner-up, so again, I've talked about this a lot in this series. A lot of times what I do is I look back, whether it's from the 2000s or even further back. I put myself back into a frame of mind of what was I probably thinking and picking as favorites back in the day, and how does that compare to how I feel about those same albums here in 2020. And for my runner-up choice was just outside of my top 10 back in 2013. But I think it's one of those albums because, your perception of albums and your love, or maybe dislike for albums that you originally thought were really good. Sometimes it changes a little bit, sometimes it doesn't at all. With this one has consistently ranked higher and higher and higher for me, and the band as well, since this time period. And I think I can appreciate this album more today than I did 7 years ago. I still loved it back then. I like it even more now, and I think, like I said, this band has just really risen. Their stock has risen a lot with me in recent years. I'm talking about, from the UK, Haken, The Mountain. All right, a really cool band. This is on Inside Out Records. They're not really a progressive metal band, but they're pretty heavy. They're not really a straight prog band because they're too heavy. They got elements of hard rock. I mean, you know, most people call them a prog metal band. They're not. Is there such a thing as a prog progressive hard rock band? I think that applies to them a little bit more because they're not quite as metalish as like Symphony X or Vanden Plas or Dream Theater, but they're certainly a lot heavier than Spock's Beard and the Flower Kings and Glass Hammer, so on and so forth. So they're kind of like somewhere in between. Great melodies, great production, sensational guitar and keyboard work. The rhythms are fantastic. The vocals are great. Just some really, really fantastic songs on here. You got Atlas Stone, Cockroach King, Falling Back to Earth, Paradolia, Somebody, As Death Embraces. Just a really, really strong album, top to bottom. Might be my favorite Haken album amongst a lot. I mean, they have not released a dud as of yet. All their albums are really, really strong. If you've never listened to Haken and you just love kind of classic sounding heavy rock, but with plenty of proggy touches and bits of metal, great melodies, great vocals, they kind of do a little bit of everything. And they're less kind of overindulgent on soloing than, like, say, a Dream Theater. Okay, so their songs are a little more compact. They still do plenty of that as well, but they're a little more compact. Jaw-dropping musicianship, but more for the song, right? So there you have it. Those are my two picks. So we got Deep Purple. Now what? As my favorite, Haken, The Mountain is my runner-up. Curious to see what you guys think. But wait, you want to know what else I was kind of looking at for this calendar year, right? All right, so also in the kind of conversations here, Dream Theater's self-titled release, which I think is really, really good. That's their second album with Mike Mangini on vocals. Spock's Beard, Brief Nocturnes and Dreamless Sleep, another really great album. Queensryche's self-titled album, first one with Todd on vocals. Excellent, excellent stuff. Fate's Warning, Darkness in a Different Light. Halloween, Straight Outta Hell, Voivod, Target Earth. Manila Road, Mysterium, great album from Manila Road, band that's going to be much missed. Probably my number 3 or 4. I think the Dream Theater is probably number 3. My number 4, probably, if we were to kind of rank these, Stephen Wilson's The Raven That Refused to Sing. It's absolutely fantastic album. I know that's probably going to finish very high for a lot of people, and deservedly so. Amorphous Circle, Cathedral, The Last Spire, which was Cathedral's last album. That's Killer Doom. Satan, Life Sentence, a great new wave of British heavy metal band who made a comeback here and just absolutely knocked it out of the park. If you love early Iron Maiden, you'd love Satan and Life Sentence. Black Sabbath, 13. That also ranks pretty high for me. I'm a big fan of the 13 album. I know some people are down on it, but I dig it as a kind of last statement from the original, well, as close to the original version of the band as you can get. I thought it was pretty good. Carcass, Surgical Steel is one of the great comebacks of 2013, and I also really like Cadaver's Abracadabra album. Cadaver, a great kind of German stoner, doom, psychedelic, retro band. Dig them a lot. So there you have it. Those are my picks for 2013. Curious to see what you guys come up with. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So coming up today, I am going to desperately try to get a Monsters Den episode in today. I am also really hoping to do that Procol Harum ranking the albums episode. If I don't get to that today, it'll be sometime tomorrow. And then coming up this week, tomorrow, you got 2014. I'm going to finish up this favorite album of the year series this week. Coming up on Tuesday, got an interview with Neil Morse from, Transatlantic, Spock's Beard, Flying Colors, and all sorts of other stuff. Neil's going to be coming on the show on Tuesday. Really stoked to talk to him. And all sorts of other stuff planned for this week, so you don't want to miss any of that, all right? So make sure if you didn't get a chance, we had some great content go live this weekend. So make sure you check out Martin Popoff and I did a top 10 songs of Gillan, Ian Gillan's great band Gillan, all right? We also ranked the studio albums. I did ranking the studio albums of Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. We did Robin Trower. We had Gamma and Montrose this week. Ranking the catalog of Voivod yesterday, so all sorts of really good stuff on the channel. Also got some new product stuff that I got to do yet, so that's also coming up. So stay tuned for all that stuff, guys. A lot of things happening here, so you don't want to miss any of it, right? So we'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.